Hello, hi. If you're new to my videos, then welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, I see you. Thanks so much for just checking out the content. Really, really, really appreciate it. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking a little bit about Cape Town. I've been putting this particular video off for some time because it's a little bit of a sensitive one, but I thought, you know what, let's do it. Let's get into it, right? So first things first, I'm going to be looking off screen because I did write some stuff down because I just don't want to forget anything. So I will be doing that. Just allow me. Okay, so first things first, yeah, we all know Cape Town is plenty beautiful. It is a very, very gorgeous place. It's got scenic routes, it's got all the flowers, it's got all the birds, it's got all the beaches, so it's lovely to look at. It's quite vibrant, it's got stunning landscapes, and it has a rich history. But like any other city, there are pros and there are cons, so I'm going to try to keep it factual, and I will leave a link or a couple of links down below that just kind of go into detail as to where I gathered my information from. So first things first, these are the benefits, these are the pros of living in Cape Town. I was there for a little bit of time. I lived there for a little bit of time. I didn't feel like I wanted to stay there long term for my own personal reasons, but they did. When I say they did, I mean my reasons made sense to me, so they did make sense to me, but they might not make sense to someone else. So let's start with the pros, right? Naturally, there is the natural beauty and outdoor activities. I've done quite a bit of different things. There's the dunes, right? The Atlantis dunes. So much fun. I did that. We did that as a team, and I also did paragliding and a couple of other outdoor activities. There's a lot more that I didn't do that you can do, like snorkeling, scuba diving, and the likes. Cape Town has pretty much everything for like the adrenaline junkie. So if you're that person, it's the city for you. There's cultural diversity and vibrant art scenes. So if that's your thing, it's also for you. It's pretty much got all the different languages, all the different traditions in terms of local flair as well as in terms of international variety. You meet people from all walks of life. It's like a hub spot for digital nomads and people who are just traveling abroad and such. It's also got like a lot of entertainment. For instance, let's talk about the Cape Town International Jazz Festival that happens, and the Kirstenbosch summer concerts that take place, and outdoor cinema kinds of things that you can do in Stellenbosch as well. So it's pretty cool. There's also economic opportunities. It's a hub for various industries, including finance, tech, tourism, and creative arts. So the city's economy has seen growth in these sectors, specifically in tech startups and digital nomad communities, making it an attractive place for young professionals. I agree with this, of course I do, hence I'm sharing it with you. The average income in Cape Town is around 23,000 rand, which is approximately about $1,200 US, which is relatively higher compared to other cities in South Africa. Not higher than Johannesburg, definitely not, but higher than other parts of South Africa for sure. Quality of life there is also quite high. So the thing is, yes, I mentioned the average salary there, but if you're making that amount of money, you're not living comfortably in Cape Town. You're really not. I feel like if you're in Johannesburg, if you're in Pretoria, you would probably be living quite comfortably even with that salary. But in Cape Town, for me, that doesn't seem to work. I wouldn't survive on that amount of money in Cape Town. So the quality of life in Cape Town is quite high in my opinion. There's obviously good healthcare facilities, there's private and public schools, well-developed infrastructure, definitely. And then there's like a vibrant food scene. We went and had all the different meals. We had all the different poke bowls. We just went all over the place, and the food was great. Food was awesome. You can get a variety from like local markets to fine dining. And yeah, there's like a strong emphasis on farm to table cuisine, which obviously adds to the appeal of Cape Town. So that's pretty much the benefits, right? If you're trying to network with people from everywhere, if you're trying to try all the things, go to all the places, be at every function, and you're that social butterfly, then probably Cape Town is your thing. But if you're like an introvert like me, then maybe not necessarily. Maybe not. I'm not saying it isn't, but maybe not necessarily. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, there's a high cost of living. So like, remember when I said, average salary, we're looking at about 23,000 Rand, which is about 1,200 US dollars, right? But if let's say you're like wanting to rent, there's this whole double deposit kind of thing that happens in Cape Town, which doesn't happen in other parts of South Africa. So for instance, let's say your rent is 10,000 Rand. In your first month, you need to pay 20,000 upfront, and then depending on where you're moving, they might also need you to pay your first month's rent as well. Like, so therefore you'd be paying the 20K plus 10K, and so that's 30K before you actually just move there, which is a little bit like, it's a lot, right? So that speaks to that high cost of living. While Cape Town offers a high quality of life, it comes at a cost. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is around 10,000 Rand to 15,000 Rand, which is approximately about 520 to about 780 US dollars per month. And then there's other living expenses you need to factor in, like your groceries, and like moving around and transportation. If you're Ubering, that's going to be a little bit of a penny. So you've got to kind of factor that in to the mix. Then there's the social inequality and homelessness. So this for me made Cape Town quite unpleasant, if I'm being honest. Being someone of high empathy, it's not pleasant to constantly be reminded of like, inequality, and there's no like real regard for them, in the sense that there's tents outside in the roads, there's like tents and people can kind of camp there or what have you, but there's just so many homeless people that you can't ignore the fact that they're there. And it's quite painful to witness and you try to understand, how is this the case? Because in other parts of South Africa, yes, there is homelessness, but in Cape Town, for me, I noticed it so very much because it was so visible. So Cape Town really does show the high Gini coefficient that exists in this country, and so you can see the significant social inequality. You can see the big contrast between the wealthy areas and the impoverished, but crime remains a factor that potential residents need to kind of be aware of. Then there's trouble with other related problems, and I mean, let's not talk about all the negatives, but they exist, right? If you go and Google arrests and like what kind of crimes happen in Cape Town, they are quite significantly different from other parts of South Africa. So there's that. And then there's also traffic and public transportation, right? So regarding traffic, there is a lot depending on what time you leave. It can be frustrating during peak hours specifically, of course, just like any other city, but there are other things you can do about it. You can travel at off-peak times, and that, so, and commuting is time consuming, so there's that. Like I said earlier, there's pros and there's cons. So Cape Town is a city of contrast. It's got natural beauty, cultural richness, and economic opportunities, but depending on what you're looking for, it's not necessarily like some kind of safe haven. It can be for some, but not necessarily. If you've got the buying power, sure, go and live in Cape Town. But if you're still kind of like up and coming and you're working like a medium kind of job, maybe not. Let me know what you think. I'm interested in different alternative perspectives. Thanks for checking this out.